Before we jump in, if you love honest NBA breakdowns without media bias, make sure you're part of the Ball IQ Zone family. These conversations only get deeper from here. Now, on the surface, everything looked fine. Luka and LeBron just had fun against the Grizzlies, smiles everywhere, highlights flying around. But don't let that one night fool you, because before that, things had been quietly unraveling, especially for LeBron James. On December 29th, the NBA released the first round of All-Star voting results. And for the first time since his rookie season, LeBron James is in real danger of missing the All-Star game entirely. At best, he's likely coming off the bench. At worst, he's not there at all. Ninth place in fan voting. For a player whose legacy has been fueled by popularity as much as greatness, that hits different. Some tried to explain it away. It's the sciatica. But this is fan voting. Fans don't vote based on medical charts. Last year, LaMelo Ball topped the East Guard voting. Popularity has never been about logic. This is about perception, and perception has shifted. Here's the part that should make everyone pause. Luka Dončić finished first in All-Star fan voting, and that means hundreds of thousands of Lakers fans actively chose Luka and skipped LeBron. Same jersey, same team, very different message. This wasn't accidental, it was intentional. We've seen this before, kind of. In 2003, Michael Jordan didn't earn a starting spot with the Wizards, but a young Vince Carter voluntarily gave it up out of respect. That moment cemented MJ's status as untouchable. This time, no one's stepping aside, not even close. And the numbers back it up. Just a year ago, LeBron was the most talked about player in the league on social media at age 40. Now he slipped to fourth. Who replaced him at the top? Luka. That shift isn't cosmetic, it's cultural. You can hear it in LeBron's own words. On the court, he's playing more off the ball when Luka is active. Off the court, he sounds distant. He admitted he'd rather be home on Christmas. He says he watches more golf than basketball now. For a lifelong hoops obsessive, that's not normal. That's a red flag. And the results are showing. The Lakers have a winning record, but a negative point differential, the clearest sign of a team pretending to contend. This is Luka's team now, and whether LeBron fully accepts that or not is where this story really begins. Now let's talk about Luka himself, because while his offense is still elite, some of the same bad habits that followed him earlier in his career are starting to resurface. When Luka is locked in offensively, he can bend an entire defense. But on the other end of the floor, that's where the frustration starts to creep in. There are stretches where Luka is simply not engaged defensively. He gets caught standing upright, late on rotations, slow to recover in transition. At times, it looks less like he's beaten and more like he's resigned. During a recent broadcast, even Reggie Miller was openly pleading for him to just move his feet, not to lock anyone up, just to show effort. Instead, too often, Luka is turned toward the officials, arguing calls while the play continues behind him. And then there's the conditioning conversation. Luka's body has always been part of the discussion, fair or not. Recently, that conversation is back. He looks heavier than earlier in the season, drifting away from the lean version fans saw on magazine covers and highlight reels. None of this erases his greatness, but it does affect how sustainable his game looks over a long season, especially defensively. LeBron James sees all of this, and unlike fans on social media who vent openly, LeBron does what he's always done. He speaks in coded language. After a recent game, he pointed to pick sixes, turnovers that immediately turn into transition points. He talked about not getting back on defense, about teams running the Lakers off mistakes, about giving up easy points. On the surface, it sounded like generic team talk, but context matters. In that game, LeBron had 0 pick-six turnovers. He wasn't perfect, he had dead ball turnovers, but those don't lead to fast breaks. Luka, on the other hand, finished with 8 turnovers. 7 of them turned directly into transition scores. That's not random, that's exactly what LeBron was describing. This wasn't about one night, it's about fit. And the numbers are brutal. When you look at Luka's two-man lineup data, the results are eye-opening. Luka and Austin Reeves, strongly positive. Luka with other role players, manageable. But Luka and LeBron together, among Luka's worst combinations, a massive negative per 100 possessions. Not just bad, disastrous. And that's why LeBron's reaction to the Anthony Davis trade suddenly makes more sense. On paper, it's obvious. You trade an injury-prone big for a prime superstar every time. But basketball isn't just talent, it's compatibility. Davis, when healthy, defends at an elite level and thrives without the ball. Luka doesn't, and neither does LeBron anymore. That's the real issue. You now have two ball-dominant stars who both struggle defensively sharing the floor, at a time when LeBron is 41 and conserving energy by necessity. From day one, LeBron could see where this was headed, and the timeline supports it. Early in the season, with Luka and Reeves leading the charge, the Lakers started hot, 15-4. Luka was historic out of the gate. 40-point nights, near triple-doubles, and a franchise record for points through his first 4 games, passing Jerry West. Then December arrived. LeBron returned full-time, and the Lakers crashed back to reality. 5-7, middle-of-the-pack offense, near the bottom of the league defensively. Not because Luka isn't great, but because Luka needs a very specific roster around him to win. And right now, the Lakers aren't built to support that version of Luka or this version of LeBron. Yeah, LeBron might be annoyed with Luka right now. And honestly, it kind of makes sense. From LeBron's perspective, he came back to a team expecting to compete, not to babysit a transition year disguised as contention. But here's the uncomfortable truth. LeBron isn't the solution anymore. He's the obstacle. Not because he's bad, not because he doesn't care, but because timing matters in the NBA, and his timeline no longer matches what this franchise is quietly planning behind the scenes. This season was never about winning a championship. It was a holding pattern, a gap year. Rob Pelinka knew it. The front office knew it. That's why no long-term money was taken on. That's why no desperate deadline move is coming. And that's why LeBron didn't get an extension. The Lakers are waiting for the books to clear, for draft capital to unlock, and for the real rebuild around Luka to finally begin. Until then, everything feels awkward. Every loss feels louder. Every possession looks clunky. And LeBron, whether he likes it or not, feels like he's standing in the way of the future. Imagine how frustrating that must be for LeBron, going from being the guy who defines the franchise to being the reason they can't move forward yet. He saw this coming. Everyone did. And now, every bad defensive possession, every late-game breakdown, every headline reads the same story. Something here doesn't fit. That tension you're feeling on the court, it's real. But while the NBA drama is boiling over, something even bigger and far more dangerous is quietly brewing in another league. Because right now, the WNBA is staring straight at a nuclear option. The players have made it clear. They are willing to strike if necessary. Not threaten, not posture, actually strike. And here's the scary part. This isn't like the NBA or NFL, where a shutdown hurts but survives. The WNBA does not have that luxury. A full work stoppage wouldn't just pause the league, it could cripple it. So why would the players be willing to risk everything? Because from their perspective, they've already been risking everything for years. Low salaries, limited revenue sharing, short careers, minimal financial security. The league's popularity has exploded recently. Ratings up, attendance up, merchandise selling, but the players believe the money isn't reaching them. They see packed arenas, viral moments, national TV slots, and then they look at their paychecks. That gap is what's driving this standoff. The league says growth takes time. The players say time is exactly what they don't have, and that's what makes this situation so volatile. A strike could force real change, or it could scare sponsors, networks, and investors right back out the door. One wrong move and years of progress vanish overnight. So while everyone's arguing about LeBron, Luka, and the Lakers' future, a much bigger question is hanging in the air elsewhere. What happens when players decide they're done waiting, no matter the cost? And trust me, what comes next is about to get way crazier.